Classic Restos is proudly brought to you by Shannon's Insurance for Motoring Enthusiasts, Gator, Induction and carsales.com.au. G'day, this is Fletch, your presenter of the TV show Classic Restos. It's the show where it's your chance to see completed restorations being shown, driven and enjoyed. G'day and welcome to another fab episode of Classic Restos. Of course not possible without the continued support of my major sponsors. You can see these people at the top and the tail of every show. So for the best in classic car and bike insurance, the best in new or rebuilt carburettors, and the best online source to sell or search for your classic car or daily drive, go to classicrestos.com.au for more sponsorship information. Back in 1977, three engine enthusiasts were enjoying a quiet ale in a hotel in the Southern Highlands of New South Wales. It was around the table on that very afternoon that a decision was made to create a car club to aid in the preservation, restoration and promotion of all early Ford V8 motor vehicles. Now today this club is known as the Early Ford V8 Club of New South Wales, and on today's show I'm at their annual Show and Shine concourse event at the Ettamogah pub here in Rouse Hill in New South Wales.
Hey Fletch, go fetch another classic resto. One with sparkling paint and chrome, all full of shine. Hey Fletch, go fetch another classic resto and show me what I...
Okay, first cabs off the rank here today. Reggie and Rosie, welcome to Classic Restos. Reg?
How you doing? Okay.
Good, how about you, Rosie?
Good, thank you.
Oh, that's great. Hey, look at this car. Isn't it beautiful? 1936 Coupe. Tell us the deal. Reggie, what's going on?
It's a 1936 Ford Coupe. It's got the original side valve V8 in it. It's also got a Columbia, which overdrive.
Overdrive, pretty advanced for 1936.
Yes, it was an option back then in 1936 by Ford Motor Company. This one has got it. The colour is Bordeaux Batan. It's got red puppy wheels as well, as you can probably see, with white wall tyres. I restored the cars about 15 years ago. It's been my pride and joy. It looks good, goes good. We both love it, my wife and I.
Absolutely, you can see it. I mean, how nice is this car? Now, Rosie, tell us, what's your input been to this beautiful car?
Oh, I love the car, but I'm not allowed to drive it, unfortunately.
So you've just got to ride in it?
That's right, that's right.
Hey, Reggie, you're driving...
Why? Because she wears this bloody... Show your hands. Because she wears these rings and you're going to scratch your steering wheel.
Look at this bloke, eh? Driving along, eh? He's got his 17-year-old girlfriend with him, hey?
Oh, I love
We've been married for 50 years, believe it or not.
Good on you guys. Great to catch up with you both.
Yeah.
Nice to see you here at the Ettamogah pub at Rouse Hill, supporting the day. But not only that, the preservation of your 36 Ford is truly magnificent.
Thank you very much. I love it with all my heart.
The Ford Flathead V8, or the side valve V8 to the purist, was technically the first engine manufactured by Ford to kick-start the muscle car era. The Ford Flathead V8 started production in 1932, and it ran right through till its demise in 1953. Back in the day when it came to performance, there was no other engine like the Ford side valve V8. Ford was first to launch their V8 engine, and Chevrolet launched theirs 23 years later. By that time, the Ford V8 boys had that many runs on the board, hence solidifying the reputation that still stands strong today. An incredible 81 years later. Many a Ford side valve V8 powered a lot of Fords and luxury Lincolns and Mercurys. They were so good, they even made it into commercial trucks as well. But when you ran a couple of pipes out the side, threw a couple of carbies on the top, the Ford side valve Flathead V8 was apple pie and cream to many a Ford hot rodder. Back in the day, when it came to the stoplights, if one of these side valve V8s pulled up next to you and all you had back then was a 6-cylinder, the best thing to save embarrassment that you could have done was just glance over, give the guy a little wave and let him go. Okay, moving through, we've got Cliff here now from the Early Ford V8 Club of New South Wales. Now, this is a little bit of a unique segment because would you believe we have a pigeon pair here? We have two 1938 Fords. Cliff, welcome to the show, mate.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Brett. Nice to be here too.
Absolutely, mate. Now, look, tell us about these two unique Fords.
Well, ours is a one owner. My dad bought it new, 1938. He bought it just before the war started, and it was because of the war. They were confiscating all these cars, and
Okay, when you say confiscated, if you owned one, what would happen?
they sent you a letter and said, we'll be out on such and such a day, have your keys ready, we'll have the money and pick up the car.
And why would they want the cars?
Because they wanted them either for security reasons, or they wanted them off the street because at that stage they were high powered and they were a security risk. So because
That's amazing, isn't it?
with the CSR, he was allowed to keep it. And it fell into disuse, and he died in 1955, and there was no one to drive it for about 3 months, so we couldn't afford to get anything else, so I learned to work on it, which I've done ever since.
Cliff, what's amazing is these two cars apparently were very close on the assembly line. Tell us the story there.
Well, we can only judge by the number plates. They're both original number plates, and they had very close registration dates, but I don't know a lot about David's car, except that it came from Guymere, and it was in a very poor state of repair when I first saw it many years ago, and it disappeared, and then my son saw it advertised in a car magazine in Darwin.
Cliff, great to catch up with you. Just the thought of having two 1938 Fords side by side here today, close regos, close production numbers. I don't think this opportunity comes along very often.
I wouldn't think so, no. And it's uncle and nephew, and so we both live very close to each other, so we help each other with repairs.
Good on you, Cliff. It's blokes like you that help to keep this whole movement going.
Well, we hope so, and we have a lot of fun with them too.
Good on you, mate.
Okay, thanks, Fletch.
You're at the Early Ford V8 New South Wales Car Club, along with the Cap Club at their annual show and shine at Edamoga Pub at Rouse Hill, New South Wales, and you're watching it first on Classic Restos. Don't go anywhere because we'll be right back with more right after this. Moving through the Early Ford V8 Club of New South Wales, Alan Warner, welcome to Classic Restos.
Morning, Fletch.
Mate, it's great to have you on the show, because we've always had your brother Eric.
That's right, my younger brother.
Yeah. Oh, boy, hasn't he got a reputation?
Well, he has. He really has. I think we'd be sort of lost without him, really. Yeah, engine-wise and mechanically-wise, yeah, we would. He's a guru.
Yeah, absolutely. Early Ford V8s, the side valves, these guys really know their stuff. Now, Alan, you've got a beautiful 46 Mercury. Tell us the story on this car.
Well, Beverly and I went to Ballarat Swap Meet in 1991. And I met Eric. We went over in the bus and I met Eric there, and he said, "Did you see that 46 Merc up there?" And I said, "No." So we went up and had a look at it, and he'd just finished it. A guy from Geelong, John Ellis, he had a paddle beating shop in Geelong, and he'd brought it out from the States, and it was just finished. I'd never seen a Merc Coupe before. It's the first one I'd seen. Beverly was with me, and we looked at it, and I said, "My God." I said, that thing's got my name on it, you know. Really.
Alan, it's a gorgeous car. I mean, have a go at it. I mean, the exuberance, absolutely beautiful. Being a two-door as well really sets this car apart from others. But the exuberance, the personality, the paragon, the epitome, whatever name you want to throw at this car, it's really up there. It's glorious. Now, when you got the car, Alan, did it need much work doing to it?
Well, not really, because the body work had all been done and it had been painted. And I swapped another car for it. I swapped the Phase 1 for it, and he brought this to Albury.
Now, when you say a Phase 1, you mean a GT?
GTHO Phase 1, mint. It was mint, 69. It's a beautiful car. And
look, I don't mind to stop you there, but what a transition of vehicles, like going from the Phase 1 to the old girl. I mean, you've really appreciated the muscle car era, and you've gone back in style, and you've gone back as well into a different era, haven't you?
Yeah, well, you see, it was a beautiful car, but they're a bit of a liability, because you can't drive them and leave them anywhere like you can. These people sort of respect these cars. They want to pinch a phase one. That's, they do. And they come out of the woodwork, and I couldn't leave it anywhere. If I went away, I'd take the wheels and tyres off it. And that's how good it was. It was absolutely mint. It had 14,000 miles on it. And I had it for 10 years.
You don't look back. You can't look back. Now, tell us quickly about the engine on this. I want to know the size and the horsepower. What can you tell us about the side valve here?
Well, this engine, I bought it in about 1980, and it was an ex-army engine, and it was in a crate. This one had an 8PA in it when I came. That was an 8PA. That was a later one, 49 to 54. So I had this engine, and I'd never done anything with it. And took the top off the box and had a look at it. And I was to Derek about 6-7 years ago. I said, Derek, I'll have to do something with that engine. So anyway, we pulled it out, and it was an army engine, and the army engines were sleeved. They were all sleeved from 3 3/16 back to 3 1/16. So you could put a set of standard Ford pistons in it, pull the sleeves, and you could put 3 3/16 pistons in it. And that's what we did. So Eric sent it down to Martin's in Wollongong and pulled the sleeves, honed it, and everything was brand new. The crank piston. But I had a set of brand new set of Mercury standard Sterling pistons that I'd bought in the States, and a set of TRW rings, I think they were. So Eric put it back together. We put new valve springs, Iskandarian valve springs in it, adjustable lifters, copper lead big end and main bearings on it, and had it balanced, and it is a superb engine.
How does it drive compared to V8s of today? I mean, I know V8s have always had that smooth, effortless feel, no matter what the cubic inch size of the engine is. They've always got that characteristic of smoothness. Goes way back into this era too.
Well, the thing about the side valve is that they were very smooth engines, but they were torquey as well. And this car is just a great thing to drive, and it's very quick. It's very quick on the road, it will just pull away. You could sit this thing on 100k and give it a squirt and it will pull away. That's, it really does.
That's amazing. I've really learned a lot talking to you this morning, Alan. Look, it's been great catch up with you, mate. I've been trying to get a hold of you for many years, and every event I go to, I find your brother. Not that that's bad.
Yeah, well, like I said before, I think you're dodging me, but I couldn't mention that word, I suppose, should we?
What do they say? If you can't afford a Chev, dodge a Ford.
If you can't get a Ford, dodge a Dodge.
That's the one. Good on you, mate. Great. Thanks for being on the show, Alan.
Thanks, Fletch. Good on you.
What a magnificent day. The early Ford V8 Club of New South Wales here at the Edamoga Pub at Rouse Hill, New South Wales. But joining them as well is the Coupe Club. Now, you guys tagged along as well. You had a few Cortinas here today. Tell us about your club, Kyle.
Yeah, the Coupe Club's been going for quite a few years now, and we just enjoy all the cars and everything else. It's a good social sort of thing to get out and have a bit of fun.
I tell you what, they'd have to go down as one of my favourite cars, the Cordies, the sporty Cordies. Once upon a time, you go to a car show, and if you saw 20 or 30 Cordies, you'd walk past, and maybe only a handful were, up there. It's different now. I mean, you get a few of them here today. These are concourse cars.
That's right. Yeah, most of the guys here now, they've gone through recent rebuilds. Mine's now about 8 years old. A couple of the other guys, very recent, like within a couple of weeks. So the quality over the time has just progressed unbelievably. Through probably about 30 years ago, everyone was getting around in them. Everyone loved them. And then all of a sudden they dropped off. Now they're making a big resurgence.
I think there's a lot to be said for simplicity. I mean, I think that goes for a lot of our classic cars. The Cortina was a basic, simple car. They held their own. In the mid-60s, they had a nice style, nice line, nice-looking car.
They were really well thought out with the family and all that. They also had a really good racing history as well, the real supercar of Bathurst.
That's the way, mate. Well, listen, Kyle, for people watching the show, if you want to find out more about the Coupe Club and all the good things that these guys stand for, drop us the website, Kyle.
Okay, it's www.capclub.com.au.
All right, Kyle, mate, thanks for coming along here today, mate, and helping to make this event So good. And boy, what a great day this has been. Every show I'm going to, I'm finding this. You know, you get there of a morning, before you know it's lunchtime, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, the day's over at 4:30. They just keep getting better and better.
Right, yeah, that's exactly right. It's a lot of hard work, but it's all well worth it.
Good on you, buddy.
Okay, catch you later.
Now's not the time to go anywhere, because we'll be back with more classic Fords right after this. Welcome back. Welcome to the show, Warwick.
Oh, thanks, Fletch. How are you been?
Good, mate. Great. This is a beautiful day here today. Rouse Hill.
Terrific, it is, isn't it?
I know, blue sky, sun's out. What an assortment of cars here too from the early Ford V8 Club of New South Wales. Numbers are good.
Very good. We could do with more, but we've got a good crowd.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of which, 2 people came up to me and said, you've got to go and speak to that bloke with his 32 Roadster. When I get close to it, I can see why. Have a go at the stance of this car, the road presence, the way the car sits. Beautiful car. Tell us a story, Warwick.
Well, I've had it since 1961. I bought it as a...
Hang on, 1961?
Yeah.
You would have only been about 7 or 8 years old.
A little bit older, but not much. But it was a pretty old piece of junk, but it was drivable, on which I did drive it home from Flemington to Fairfield, and then it, with a lot of help from friends and so forth, built it up as a hot rod.
What was it like back in 1961 to drive a car like this on the roads back then?
Just like driving a car. I mean, there was hardly any other motor vehicles around at the time, and I did it late at night, so it wasn't too bad.
Okay, now tell us, Warwick, when did the restoration procedure actually start with the car?
Well, I started with the car and built it up, put it on the road in 1963 as a hot rod, but it was a sleeper. Did a bit of drag racing, and I got married in it, went away on a honeymoon in it. A couple of years later we had a child, and my wife said, we're not putting the child in the boot.
A lot of parents would like to put their kids in the boot.
Well, this Roadster was a boot model, which they called it a businessman's Roadster. Yep. But anyway, so we ended up getting a family car, and I took it off the road in 1966 after it ran out of registration, hence the label on
Yeah, I noticed the original 1966 Rego label there. That's really neat.
Anyway, then it sat for 20 years, and I started to rebuild it in 1986 and put it on the road again in 89, and here it is now. But I mean, it's had quite a few miles done on it, and
but what a cool car. I mean, what a cool looking car. It's got a nice nose out the front, the running boards on the side, the guards, the fenders up over the front wheels, the front tyres are slightly wider than the earlier models. It's just a real, I don't know, it's just got a real nice appeal to it, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has, yeah. And I mean, I've been commented by others to say it's a hot rod because it's lowered, but in actual fact, when you measure the top of the hood or the roof down to the ground, it's to the manufacturer's specifications. So.
Good on you, mate. Warwick, it's been great catching up with you, mate, and look, congratulations in the preservation of this car. Need I say more?
Thanks, Fletch, for your hospitality.
Okay, we've got Tanya now. Tanya, welcome to Classic Restos, the Adamoga Pub Rouse Hill edition.
Yes, thank you. It's good to be here. We've had a good day.
Absolutely. Sun in the face now, pretty bright, but hey, better than rain.
Absolutely.
Now, Tanya, this is pretty special. This truck means a lot to you. Tell us the story.
This was my grandfather's truck. The Australian government brought 500 from the Canadian plant, the Windsor plant, and they brought them out for the war, and 500 of this size. After the war, there were paddocks apparently full of all ex-military vehicles down at Goulburn, and my grandfather, being a primary producer, went down there, and it was sailed through a ballot, and he didn't know what he was going to come home with, just a truck, and this is what he came home with. Now, my father's the oldest of 5 boys, and he said when his father turned up in this truck, they were so disappointed that he's come home with this old truck, and yet the farmer on the next property scored a mid-40s model, and here they had this old thing. So, but for us, we couldn't have asked for a better truck.
Tanya, how long did the restoration take place?
It took my husband about 10 years, and that was purely because we had a lot of trouble getting anyone to really advise us on it, because everyone's attitude was, it's a commercial, not interested in trucks, or your husband's only young, he'll probably want to hot rod it. So no one wanted to help us.
This is as nice as any classic car. This is a gorgeous truck. It probably looks better now than what it did when it was new, but to think that the workload and what these things were put through, and to come out of the other side to go through a restoration, it's like a big piece of jewellery. It's just absolutely gorgeous, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, we were lucky that my grandfather really just used it on the farm, and as the local fire truck in a little town called Hilltop down on the Southern Highlands. It was garaged, and even when he'd finished driving it and it had finished its life on the farm, it was shedded for easily 40 years. So we were lucky. We got a vehicle that was in fairly decent condition. So,
Tanya, it's a 1938 truck. What does it feel to you emotionally? I mean, to think that it belonged to your grandfather.
look, I think for us we're really attached to it. Not only just that because it was my grandfather's, the history of it within the town. We still have people come up to us today in their 70s and say, we can remember being young blokes going out to fight fires around the Southern Highlands and getting on the back of this truck and going out into the bush. So that's special. The other thing that's special is my father's now 81. He was no good on the mechanical side of things, but as soon as it came to do all the timber work on this truck, he did it. And, you know, as an 81-year-old doing all the polished jarrah, all the engraving on the trays and the toolboxes. So, yeah, so it's really special to us because it's been a whole family of several generations that have gone into it. It's
so good, too, to think that even if, you know, you've got to outsource some stuff, but if there's just one thing that you're good at, and it's the timber work for the rear tray, that's input, that'll be there forever.
Absolutely. And, look, my father was a carpenter by trade in his day, so when he had a chance to do this, he went and handpicked the best grain jarrah he could find and milled it all up, sanded it, polished it. So a lot of his time went into this too. So, yeah, it's pretty special to us.
Well, Tanya, look, thanks for your time here today, and I'll tell you something else that's special before I go.
What? I'm the only female you've interviewed today.
Well, yeah, apart from that, I was about to say me interviewing you, and what can I say? I love your truck.
Wonderful, thank you.
Now, Bruce, tell us, there's a classic truck meet happening, mate. Tell us what's going on there.
Yeah, we've organised a road run running down the old Hume Highway. A lot of the old truckies are quite interested in doing that, and my dad used to run that, so we talked about doing the run, and the interest got out there, and we thought we'd get about 10 or 15 trucks fletched, and I think we've got about 100 so far.
Righto, Bruce, tell us dates.
27th and 28th of August.
And website?
Is www.wshtc.com.au. We're leaving from Uncle Leo's truck stop at Casula, following the old Hume Highway down through the hole in the wall of Picton, and just following the old Hume as far as we can, and we'll end up at Gas.
Okay, you want to see some classic trucks? What a run. That should be great, mate. Can hardly wait.
That'll be good.
Well, I hope you've really enjoyed today's episode of Classic Restos, the early Ford V8 Club of New South Wales, in conjunction with the Coupe Club, their annual show and shine event here at Rouse Hill, New South Wales. For those of you into bikes, we're filming a brand new show starting very soon, Classic Restos Bikes Edition. Now, this will be taking place of a Wednesday at a major Sydney bike retailer in Concord, New South Wales. Now, if you've restored a classic bike, or perhaps you're preserving an original bike, send 2 photos to photos@classicrestos.com.au, because I tell you something, fingers crossed, I may be calling upon you to come along to be on the show. Route 66 2011 is also on the approach. Time is narrowing. If you'd like to be doing the trip this year with myself, along with a fantastic group, go to the website and click on the Route 66 icon for more information. If you'd like copies of the show, the full DVD series sets are available. Again, go to classicrestos.com.au. In the meantime, as I always say, please drive safe, take care. I'm Fletch, and I'll look forward to you joining me next week on Classic Restos. Thanks for watching Classic Restos. If you want to see your car on the show, go to classicrestos.com.au. In the meantime, drive safe, resto your ride, and get it on the show.
Classic Restos is proudly brought to you by Shannon's Insurance for Motoring Enthusiasts, Gator, Induction and carsales.com.au.